Hey everyone, welcome to this explainer. Look, if you've been hearing buzzwords like Web3, digital ownership, or tokenomics, and you're wondering what they actually mean for the future of the internet, well, you're in the exact right place. Today, we're totally stripping away the jargon and breaking down these core concepts as simply as possible.
Let's just dive straight in with a pretty massive question. What actually happens when the internet stops being something you just use and becomes something you can literally own? For decades now, we've basically just been renting space on these giant centralized platforms, right? You create the data, but somebody else owns it, and they definitely profit from it. But we're in the middle of a really radical shift right now. We're moving toward a system where you don't just participate, you actually hold a stake in the infrastructure itself.
So, here is our game plan for today. We're going to cover the foundation of Web3, how we're redefining digital ownership, the nuts and bolts mechanics of tokenomics, exactly why token designs fail, and finally, Tokenomics 2.0 and how we're fixing those broken incentives.
All right, let's get right to it. Section 1, the foundation of Web3.
Web3 cuts through a ton of noise with just one really simple premise. It is a new iteration of the internet powered entirely by decentralized networks. The absolutely crucial point here is that we are removing the middleman. So instead of a massive tech giant acting like a toll booth for your peer-to-peer interactions, the network itself, which is run by thousands of independent computers, verifies and secures your digital life. And that is what enables true user sovereignty.
Author Sherman Voshgear honestly hits the nail on the head in her book, Token Economy. She says that tokens are for Web3 what websites were for Web 1. Just think about it. In the 90s, you built a website to exist online. Today, to capture, transfer, or govern any sort of value in this new decentralized network, you use a token. It's literally the fundamental building block of this whole new digital frontier.
Which brings us to Section 2, redefining digital ownership. Because, owning a token isn't just about holding a digital coin, it's really about shifting power.
Think about the night and day contrast between our current systems and this new world. On one side, you have centralized systems. Think traditional cloud servers or fiat currency. Human rights advocate Alex Gladstein points out a huge vulnerability here, called the Cantillon effect. Basically, the people closest to the creation of money or power benefit first, and everyone else is just left vulnerable to things like inflation and censorship. But on the flip side, we have decentralized systems like Bitcoin. There's literally no single issuer who can just wake up and unilaterally decide to devalue your savings by printing more money.
Okay, so how do you actually secure a network if there's no central boss running things? Well, it happens through a brilliant breakthrough called Nakamoto consensus. Just imagine this massive, decentralized, global computational competition. People all over the world are running machines to solve these incredibly complex math puzzles, which validates the transactions on the network. They aren't just printing money, they're actually earning it as a reward for securing the system. It's a total game changer because it completely replaces the need for a corruptible central issuer, guaranteeing both the scarcity and the security of the asset.
So now that we kind of get the decentralized infrastructure, we need to talk about what actually fuels it. Welcome to Section 3, the mechanics of tokenomics.
Tokenomics is essentially the nervous system of Web3, but what does a token actually do in practice? Think of it like a digital multi-tool. First off, it acts as fuel for network operations. Just like your car's engine needs gas, a decentralized app needs tokens to run. Second, tokens secure the network through a process called staking. That's where users lock up their tokens to prove they have skin in the game and are trustworthy. They also grant voting and governance rights, meaning the actual users of the network get a real say in how it's run. And finally, they reward participants. It's this incredible system that perfectly aligns the incentives of everyone involved.
But as with literally any new technology, there have definitely been some massive growing pains. Let's pivot over to Section 4, why token designs fail.
To really understand why these tokens fail, we have to look back at the history, which Laura Shin chronicles so well in her book, The Cryptopians. Back in 2015, Ethereum launched to run decentralized apps. But just a year later, this incredibly ambitious digital investment collective called the DAO got hacked hard because of a vulnerability in the code, causing a massive rift in the whole community. Fast forward to 2017, and we get the ICO, or initial coin offering craze. People suddenly realized they could use tokens to raise millions globally overnight. And sure, that brought some authentic innovation, but it also invited a ton of copycats and flat-out fraudulent schemes just chasing a quick buck without any real sustainable models.
And that really highlights the root causes of ecosystem failure. As Sherman Voshgear points out, projects almost never fail because of bad code. They fail because of human greed and completely broken incentive mechanisms. When token designs are short-sighted, they usually rely on these overly inflationary supply models. They basically just keep printing tokens out of thin air to pay people. That extractive focus will inevitably crash the price because people are just trying to pull value out of the network as fast as possible instead of building long-term sustainable value.
The good news? The industry is absolutely learning from these mistakes. Let's jump into our final section. Section 5, Tokenomics 2.0, Fixing Incentives.
We are seeing some real maturity enter the space. A recent Coinbase institutional report points out a massive shift happening right now with how institutions are adopting digital asset tokens, or DATs. The sheer volume driving this change is wild. We are finally moving away from those crazy retail hype cycles and shifting toward professional, mature financial practices. Institutions are recognizing that block space is a uniquely valuable commodity, and they are demanding token models that actually make real economic sense.
And this whole maturation process has birthed Tokenomics 2.0. So instead of just printing money out of thin air, the successful projects today are establishing a direct, undeniable relationship between the platform's success and the token's value. They're doing this with strategic token buybacks using actual platform revenues. They're offering embedded rewards that come from real transaction fees, not just crazy inflation. And they're using buy and burn models to actively reduce the token supply over time. It's basically the crypto equivalent of mature corporate finance, and it's built to ensure long-term value.
Let's make this super concrete with a real-world example. Take the decentralized AI compute platform IO.net. Look, with the absolute explosion in AI right now, the demand for computer processing power is just skyrocketing, and centralized providers like AWS are incredibly expensive. So IO.net solves this by crowdsourcing spare processing power from all over the globe. But to actually make that work, they had to totally overhaul their tokenomics, shifting from an extractive, supply-driven model to a sustainable, demand-driven network.
Here is exactly how they align those incentives. Step 1, if you want to provide your hardware to the network, you actually have to stake IO tokens. This creates a totally trustless system because if you lie about your hardware's capability, you lose your stake. Boom, instant accountability. Step 2, they tie the token value directly to real network demand. The suppliers are paid a stable incentive in USDC, which makes sure they don't just get completely crushed by market volatility. And step 3, they take the excess value generated by the network and actually burn those tokens. This shifts the entire ecosystem from an inflationary model to a deflationary one. It is literally a perfect example of Tokenomics 2.0 in action. And that really brings us to our final thought for today. As these networks mature, fix their incentive structures, and start handling everything from artificial intelligence to global finance, we really have to ask ourselves, will your future bank account just be a decentralized wallet? I mean, as the user experience gets better and better, we might soon be living in a world where you buy your groceries by seamlessly transacting between two completely secure decentralized wallets on the blockchain, without ever needing a traditional bank in the middle. The underlying architecture of true digital ownership is literally being built right now. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep learning, and I'll catch you next time.